Welcome to Welcome with Jesus Bible Study. We are going to be in the book of Psalms, chapter 35, verse 28. And my tongue shall speak of thy righteousness and of thy praise all the day long. And I'm going to repeat that. And my tongue shall speak of thy righteousness and of thy praise all the day long. We strive to praise God every day. Praising the Lord during our trials and strengthens our faith. God is there to protect us and fight for us. He renews our spirit. He enables us to endure our hardships. When we praise God during rough times, we begin to see all that He has blessed us with, making our trials seem smaller. We will continue to lift our hands and rejoice in the love of our Maker. When we show gratitude and thanks, even during our roughest times, we learn to appreciate what we have. If we can't appreciate what we have now, how can we be grateful? How can we be thankful for the things that are yet to come? How can we even begin to be blessed when we're complaining? That's one of the things that stopped the Israelites from seeing the promised land, was the disobedience and the complaining, the constant complaining. How quick was they to forget the blessings that they just had? How quick was they to forget the miracles God just produced and showed them that He is Lord, that He is King? I mean, He just sent 10 plagues. Killed all the firstborn of everything. And they turned around and started worshiping another God. All because of what? Moses was gone for 40 days. And here's the thing about that. They want to use the excuse and the example that they didn't know if Moses was coming back or not. Which is really sad, because the only time when he went up to that mountain to go speak to God, there was a cloud that went around the whole mountain that you could see from below as a big old signal stating that I am speaking to God. And in fact, every time when they went to go travel somewhere here and there was a cloud that stayed around the tabernacle that said when they was to stay, and when it was gone, it meant that they was to pack up and move and go over here and go to this spot and go to this spot. So when he was gone up there and they saw that cloud around the mountain, they knew that he was speaking with God, and still used the excuse and the fact that he was gone for 40 days. Oh, well, there must not be no God. Let's go on. And then they turned around and built themselves a golden god. They was just enslaved for 400 years. How quickly they forgot. They had no food. They was doing all this wandering around, nor was their feet tired or swollen. Carrying everything that they had. Carrying all that jewelry. All that gold that they used to make this big, huge calf. This big old statue. Could you imagine how much stuff they was carrying on each individual besides their belongings that they used to melt down and make that calf? That huge statue full of gold? Let alone the timber that they used? Because they had to make some kind of a mold out of something. The tools that they used so they could put the gold in there, pour it as it was liquefied to get hardened to make that shape. They was not tired. Their feet wasn't swollen. You got people in the 100 years old walking around carrying all this stuff, and yet they wasn't tired. The body wasn't sore. And they didn't want to believe in the God that just rescued them out of slavery, or the miracles that they were still receiving every day. The fact that it rained bread from heaven. They complained about that. So then what did he do? Turned around and sent them quails. Could you imagine just walking there, it's like, we want meat, give us the meat, give us the meat. And all of a sudden, you just had dead crows just falling from heaven, and they had meat. And then they complained about that. If you want to make God happy, you definitely don't need to be complaining about the situation you're in. Maybe you should assess the situation you're in. Maybe you should be grateful for where you're at, so then he can bless you with new things. If you can't be happy and satisfied for what he has given you right then, why should he give you anything else? Why would he give you something bigger? Why would he give you something better when you can't even be grateful and be happy with what you got there? He's like, I'm not going to give them something bigger and better. They don't even like this. So if I was to give them this, they're not going to be happy with that. They're going to complain about that because they're going to want something like this, but even bigger and better. They would never be happy. They would never be satisfied. So why should I even bother? It's very important to show gratitude in all situations, no matter what you're going through. The complaining, yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you may be suffering, but it builds your character. It teaches you a lot of things. So you got to take that lesson. Learn from that lesson. Build yourself up from that lesson. Be grateful that you was taught that lesson, so you can then move on to something else. But if you ain't learning that lesson, and if you're not grateful for that lesson, then you're going to be stuck with that lesson. You're going to be stuck living in that lesson. You can't go on to the next grade till you pass the grade that you was already in. You can keep repeating it, and repeating it and repeating it. A lot of people like to skip and go from this point to that point. And you can do that. God can bless you like that. How grateful, how thankful for you with where you at and what you got. There's people who have nothing, and God has blessed them to where they become millionaires. They skipped all that lessons and stuff because of the great suffering they had. How they took that suffering with grace and gratitude, that they was able to skip. Bless you. Bless you, my child. Thank you. There's people that was blessed, and God said, you know what? You're complaining. You ain't appreciative of this. Down you go. You're going to lose everything. Can't get it back. You have to build yourself back up. Go through those grades again. Be retaught. It's all up to you and how you perceive your life and how thankful you are for your life, because you don't have to be living at all. At least you're living. It may be a sucky one, and you may not like it, but at least you're alive. You don't have to be existing at all. And some people may have preferred that. Like, well, I'd rather not exist at all. That may be. But he created you for a purpose, for a reasoning, and you got to figure it out. You got to love yourself. You got to love your life. Find its meaning. Find your purpose. Let me go ahead and go get into prayer. Because God makes a purpose. There's a reason why he created you. It wasn't just for you to just straight suffer. It was to see. And you got to remember, when he built everything perfectly, detailed, for a reason. You just gave up too soon. Gave up too quick on yourself. Let's go ahead and go get into prayer. Dear God, you are our strength and refuge in times of turmoil. We are thankful for your love and for your faithfulness, for your grace and for your mercy, dear God. We are thankful that you chose to give us this life. Let us rejoice in your name always. Let us remember to give you praise and glory to you.